Hello! So we are going to be playing The Girl Who Fed the Wolf, which is narrated by Caleb from Love and Deepspace, of course, our pipsqueak, our boy. And I'm really excited. He looks so fine and so hot on the screen. I'm loving these stickers: Air Force Wife, Muscle Tracking Control. These are great. These are brilliant. I love it so much. I do believe this developer, I believe, is Khywae. I'm so sorry if I butchered your name. Has also done a Silas version, but this is going to be my first. I just happened to stumble across it at the perfect time where I have free time to play and try it out. So without further ado, we are going to try 3 endings. I believe there's only 3 anyway. So we are going to try and complete all 3 together. This will be safe for work, but I will give you a preview of the not safe for work that we watched on stream. So enjoy later in the video. And yeah, happy WOLFLEB day. Show NSFW scene. You mean yes and yes. Once upon a time, there was a girl and a boy who found each other in the quiet between storms. They shared secrets and scars, meals scraped together and laughter stolen between chores. They lived in a crooked house at the edge of a village, with a grandmother who smelled of thyme and spoke to crows. The girl and boy shared everything: blankets, bruises, stolen sweets, and though they were not kin by blood, they were family all the same. This is 100% their lore, their childhood lore. And I love the fact that they say they're not kin by blood, as it should be. The days were quiet, warm with soup and stories. Their nights were safe, wrapped in old quilts and starlight. But magic has rules, and happiness is never left unchecked for long. One winter, the boy began to change. At first, it was nothing, a stomachache. He asked for second helpings, snuck bread after supper. His gaze lingered longer. His eyes tracked the girl when she wasn't looking. His appetite grew wild, sharp around the edges. Meals left him hollow-eyed. His hands trembled. The villagers started to murmur. "There's something wrong with that boy," they said. Something stirring beneath the skin. Their glances turned sharp, their whispers louder. The boy stopped going into town, stopped meeting their eyes. And then one morning, before the frost had melted from the windows, he was gone. He left only footprints behind, bare and already softening under snowfall, leading into the forest. A forest older than any map, where the trees bend low to listen and the wind speaks in riddles, a place where no lantern burns bright enough to hold back the dark. They say the forest changed him, that under the moon's cold eye, the boy shed his skin and became something. Fangs, fur, and hunger sharpened by sorrow. The girl watched him vanish into the trees. She wept, but she stayed behind, because that's what good girls do. Okay, pipsqueak. And what if she went after him? Here's here. Enter Hardy Caleb. Enter Hardy Caleb. Caleb lifts his eyes from the book, blinking like you just cracked the sky. Oh, pipsqueak. What? I think she would go after him. It makes more sense. So, you want me to change the story? Yes. Thunder cracks. You flinch, pressing the pillow tighter against your chest like it might soften the sound. Outside, the storm coils around Skyhaven like a living thing. Lightning flashing behind the distant towers, rain drumming steady against the glass. Inside, Kayla's flight is warm. Safe. There's a low hum from the heating system. A faint, static buzz from the interface screen on the wall. The distant pulse of the the distant pulse of the busy city below. You're a hunter. You face nightmarish things that don't die easy. But storms, they still crawl beneath your skin. You have a mission nearby. Just a short drop from the train station. Caleb insisted you stay with him while you're in Skyhaven. You didn't argue. He watches you, the corners of his mouth twitching with the beginnings of a smile. You're such a handful. I can just hear him saying all of this. You're the one who said you wanted to get better at storytelling to distract me better. I'm just helping you evolve. He exhales, theatrical, just like the story he chose to tell, and looks down at the book again. You can almost hear him rearranging the pieces in his mind. Fine. The girl went after her brother. Ooh. The girl went after her brother. She searched and searched, calling his name into the trees, but he was nowhere to be found. The forest was magic, alive in strange, secret ways. The paths curved back on themselves, stones shifted, landmarks vanished. Sometimes the trees whispered, sometimes they listened. She knew if she kept looking, she might not be able to come back. Oh? Caleb stops reading. He looks at you. You blink. What did you do? Oh, what? Why did you stop? Keep going. What will the girl do? You sit up straighter on the bed, thinking hard, excited to contribute to the story. She'll keep going after him, of course. Why? Because he should have stayed with her. But he was dangerous. Doesn't matter. She accepts him, even if no one else would. Caleb opens and closes his mouth like he wants to say something more. Then he goes quiet, his brow furrowing as he focuses again. Oh? The girl kept going. She wandered for days, maybe weeks. Time bent oddly in the forest. She would walk and walk, only to end up where she began. She grew frustrated, angry. She shouted at the sky, kicked over a moss-covered stone, and wept when it didn't fix anything. Eventually, she went home, but she never stopped looking for him. Then one day, while wandering a part of the forest that felt almost unfamiliar, she found a new path. It was narrow, hidden. It hadn't been there before. She followed it, heart beating faster with every step, until it brought her to a clearing she'd never seen. At its center, half hidden by ivy and shadow, was a den. A figure stood just inside the mouth of it. You know, this awfully looks like a familiar entrance. I'm gonna leave it to your imagination. A man, dangerous, feral, but familiar in the way dreams are. His clothes were different, his hair wild, his eyes still his. She called out to him. He flinched, stumbling back into the shadows, something twisted in her chest at the sight. She remembered the way he used to eat, always hungry, always hollow. Gently, she reached into her satchel and pulled out an apple. She placed it at the edge of the den and stepped back. He waited. Then he moved, slow and cautious. He picked it up, sniffed it, then turned away. She heard the sound of teeth sinking into flesh, juice dripping, his body trembling as he devoured it Okay, sir, what are we devouring now? Let's be honest. When he turned back, his lips were shining with juice. His eyes gleamed. I'm pretty sure this is this aftertaste card? Is that when they bit the apple? Oh my god. That card made me so... Let me tell you, this is what this is giving. The girl smiled and stretched her hand toward him. Come back with me. The wolf stared at her. Then he shook his head and retreated deeper into the den. Deeper. I'll come back with more food. Wait for me. He didn't answer, but he watched her. And in his eyes, though she couldn't be sure, there might have been a flicker of pain. Then he turned and disappeared into the dark. Caleb's gone. Or WOLFLEB is gone. I didn't know you looked like such gloomy... I was gonna say licked again. I didn't know you licked I didn't know you liked such gloomy stories, Caleb. He raises an eyebrow, snapping the book shut with exaggerated drama. Fine. Good luck with the thunder. You gasp, clutching your pearls. Clutching your pillow like a betrayed princess. I can't. No, I want to know how it ends. Should have thought of that before you insulted my literary taste. You narrow your eyes. Literary taste? You once called the monster under my bed asked me out a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece. You just have no appreciation for cult classics. Huh? How did that... Excuse me? Why did that just speed up? Well, whatever, sure. We need to hurry it up. Chop, chop. I guess. Caleb's getting impatient. Can I please just... Thank you. The girl paused and thought carefully. I have no idea why she paused, but sure. Then she made a choice. Offer her voice, offer her touch. I'm gonna offer a touch. She stepped closer with careful steps and raised a hand to his face. His eyes fluttered shut as her fingers brushed his fur. He didn't flinch, just leaned in to her touch like it grounded him. Then he lay down, cautious but calm, resting his head in her lap. She ran her fingers through his tangled hair, smoothing down the edges of his ears. His body relaxed, but something in him still held back. Oh, we're back again. We're back. We're back in Kayla's bedroom. Poor thing. He probably hasn't been touched in years. Oh! You know, MC is real for that. MC knows. It's good that he's relaxing. There's a pause. Caleb turns a page. He still didn't let go though. He doesn't trust her? Maybe he knows once he lets go, he won't stop. Okay. The sun rose and fell again and again, and the girl kept walking the path. No matter where she gave, the wolf seemed fuller. No matter what she gave, the wolf seemed fuller, but each time she turned to leave, she heard it. The low, hollow growl of hunger, not loud or desperate, just there, like something he no longer tried to hide. She wondered if she was the only one feeding him. The thought of someone else bringing him food, placing offerings at the edge of his den, slipping into the silence she thought was theirs. It sent something sharp and hot sliding beneath her ribs. Oh? Oh? No one else should do it. They didn't know him like she did. They didn't love him like she did. The next time she entered the forest, she looked for signs, other footprints, other scents. But all she found were the delicate tracks of rabbits, half faded in the moss. Did the wolf eat bunnies? Was that how he fed when she wasn't there? The idea settled strangely in her chest. She didn't want him fed by anything else. The wolf's hunger was hers to soothe. No one else should. Not even prey. Oh my. That day, as she turned to go, she left something behind. A ribbon of hers. She untied the ribbon from her hair and placed it gently on a nearby stone. Something small, something hers, so he could remember her. A ribbon, huh? It's just something nice. Or cruel. You look at him, one eyebrow raised. Cruel? Giving him something he can't forget when she still leaves every time? You go quiet. He doesn't elaborate. The wolf took what she left behind. He cradled it in his hands and held it close to his chest like the necklace, where the beating of his heart was the loudest. When the hunger rose like a tide, curling sharp and endless in his belly, he gripped it tighter. When you come back! It soothed him a little. Enough to breathe through the worst of it. Enough to remember the girl's voice. Her footsteps on the path, the way her eyes softened when she looked at him, like he was still his old self. But hunger does not fade when fed memories. It only waits, and it was getting worse, stronger. It wanted more. Oh, please not the ship. Oh, new scene, new scene. Let's go. One day, the girl walked into the village to buy food for the wolf. The market was busy with late morning chatter, the scent of yeast and roasted nuts curling in the air. The baker smiled at her too easily. His voice was low, warm, the kind that invited her to lean closer. When he handed her a fresh loaf, the crust still hot from the oven, his flour-dusted fingers lingered just a second too long. He told her she ought to be careful, venturing so close to the woods. She laughed, a soft, breathless thing, and then she felt it. That slow, creeping pressure against her back, not a touch, not a sound, but something else. Like a thought slipping into her mind that didn't belong there, like the forest itself had opened an eye. She knew the sensation. It had found her before. On quiet nights, in places where the air grew too still, the hush too deep, as though the world was waiting for her to notice. She never had, until now. She turned, the loaf warm in her hands. At the edge of the trees, just beyond the last crooked fence post, a pair of familiar glowing eyes stared back. WOLFLEB! Also, I imagine this bread bakery man being hot as fuck. They were watching her openly. They had always been watching her. And this time, she saw them. Smile. She smiled toward the trees. How kind of him, she thought, to always be watching. The eyes did not blink. They followed her as she moved through the market, glowing faintly beneath the green-tinged shadow of the canopy. Others noticed. A gasp, a shriek, a ripple of fear through the crowd. And then, just like that, the eyes were gone, swallowed by the forest edge, as if they had never been there at all. The girl didn't understand the fuss. To her, it was nothing to fear. Oh. That's kind of sweet, actually. Kayla gives you a look over the edge of the book, half teasing, half unreadable. Sweet isn't the word I'll use. Obsessive, maybe. Love always looks obsessive from the outside. His eyes meet yours, a flicker of surprise, quickly buried beneath something quieter, thoughtful, a little too still. Then he hums, more to himself than to you, and looks back down at the page. I guess. Oh! Later, the girl followed the path through the forest again. The trees whispered louder this time, their leaves rustling secrets she couldn't quite hear. Birds scattered without cause, startled by something she could not see. Something or someone was there. She heard footsteps. Too light to belong to the wolf, too heavy to be her own. They didn't follow from behind or lead from ahead, but moved beside her, as if they believed that they had the right to walk the path with her, as if they thought they could belong there. And then somewhere between breath and heartbeat, the footsteps vanished. Oh, not creepy at all. No, for real, spooky music, hello? The girl was alone when she reached the wolf's den. The forest exhaled softly around her. Everything was as it should be. The girl called, but the wolf didn't answer. And so, with the bread still warm in her hands and something cold gathering at the base of her spine, the girl stepped inside the den for the first time. We're entering in. Oh my god, this is the Boom Shakalaka dungeon. The air was close and heavy, thick with the scent of the damp earth and ash. She moved slowly, carefully not to disturb the stillness, her gaze sweeping across the interior until it landed on the scattered bones along the floor. Clean, brittle, stripped of everything but silence! Zane, get out of here, gosh. Something burned low in her chest, a quiet spark of rage or sorrow. She wasn't sure which. She walked forward, and her boot came down hard on the bones. What? Huh? Grinding them to dust beneath her heel. Her attention shifted, then to something half hidden in the dark. A chest, lid slightly ajar. She knelt and peered inside. Behind her, a voice growled low. You shouldn't be here. Oh! He's back. The wolf stood at the mouth of the den, his shoulders braced against the frame like he was holding something back. His chest rose and fell too fast, his breath too shallow. His eyes were darker than she'd ever seen them. But she didn't back away. I don't mind the dark. I want to understand. Her words didn't soothe him. He knew what she would see if she stayed, knew what if she looked too closely, she'd understand what kind of hunger lived inside him. And once she knew, she wouldn't come back. Maybe that was best. Go and never come back. Oh? The wolf said, harsher than he meant it. The girl didn't answer. She turned and ran, the chill still pressing to her spine like a warning. Oh my god, we left. The next day passed without her. And the wolf waited, howled once into the dark, into the ache that no meal could quiet. He thought she had listened, that she had left him behind. But then, just as the sun began to fall behind the trees, she returned, late. She didn't bring much, barely enough to fill the corner of a basket, but he took what she offered. Oh my god, is he blushing? He ate with desperation, and when she reached for something else, he licked the crumbs from her fingers. She came late again the next day, later the day after that, and each time she brought less. And if she liked what she saw, the way his hands trembled, the way his breath caught when she stepped into the clearing like she might not have come at all, as if she enjoyed seeing the hunger bloom in his eyes, a hunger only she could soothe. One day, when the girl opened her basket at home, she found something resting inside that she hadn't placed there. A fang, long and white, sharp at the tip. Tip? A peace offering, perhaps? Or a warning? Or both? Put it near her bed. She placed it on her nightstand beside a gift from her grandmother so she'd never forget him. Oh, MC. We're back! Caleb exhales through his nose and closes the book for a moment, thumb pressed lightly against the page, thoughtful. She still sees him the way she always did. Of course, he might be different now, but he's still her brother. Oh! He hums, low, almost to himself, as if that wasn't the answer he was hoping for. Oh! My bad. Before you can ask, he continues with the story. Oh, he's a little disappointed. Oopsies. Kayla was hoping to start a new chapter. We went back to the past. One day, the girl noticed something missing. A scarf, a soft linen blouse she hadn't worn in weeks. She thought maybe she'd misplaced them until another item vanished, something she'd worn just days before. And then she knew something was not right. Oh. That day she brought food to the den again, but the wolf was not there. She waited, listening to the hush that had settled over the clearing. The wind had shifted. The trees, usually full of rustling whispers, held their breath. The forest felt stiller than usual, as if it too was waiting. Curious, cautious, she stepped deeper into the den. Her footsteps soft against the packed earth until she stood before the old chest tucked into the corner. She opened the lid. Inside, her clothes, neatly folded. What did the wolf need them for? Oh! Sounds very much like the Caleb we know. She reached for them. Behind her, a low growl rumbled. She turned. The wolf stood in the entrance, shadow wrapped around his shoulders like second skin. Why do you have my clothes? Are you cold? His eyes gleamed in the dim light. He said nothing. I could warm you up instead. I could warm you up instead. Kayla's eyes snapped to you. The book shuts with a quiet thud. He clears his throat, then opens it again like nothing happened. Just blushing though. Whoa, okay, bold choice. He flips to the next page a little too fast. The wolf didn't move, but his gaze darkened. He shaked his head. You should leave. Why don't you trust me? The wolf's gaze lingered, heavy with words he would not give. He pressed his lips together, as if sealing the truth behind his sharp teeth, and at last turned his eyes away. Caleb stares at the page for a moment too long, like he's not really seeing it. Will he ever trust her completely? He fiddles with the bracelet around his wrist, doesn't look up. Maybe he doesn't even trust himself. Go. His voice held no growl this time, only wait. A final word, shaped like a closing door. The girl hesitated, caught in the stillness between one breath and the next. Then she turned, and the forest, quiet and watchful, swallowed her footsteps like a secret. The seasons turned, the wind grew sharp, and frost crept along the edges of the windows like silver vines. Leaves fell, and still the wolf's hunger did not. In the village, food grew scarce. The girl barely had enough to eat herself. At the market, stalls once rich with fruit and bread now stood bare. When she reached the baker's stall, she found it shuttered, the hearth cold, the door hanging crooked on its hinges, swinging in the wind. No one had seen him in some time. They whispered that he'd gone into the forest, that perhaps he had followed something he shouldn't have, that the woods were watching again. The girl said nothing. She kept searching for food, anything she could carry, even just enough for a mouthful. She didn't want the wolf to feed on something else, on someone else. It was then the village sage stopped her. An old woman hunched and draped in shawls of frayed silken feathers, her voice like dried leaves. She told the girl that today was not like other days. This was the turning on the longest night, when the forest shifted in its sleep, when the gates between worlds closed like teeth. Anyone who entered after twilight might not return. The forest liked to keep what crossed its threshold. The girl looked up at the sky. The sun had begun its slow descent behind the trees, staining the clouds in golden ash. Shadows stretched longer with each passing breath, and she had no food in her hands. She still tried, but food from other villages would only arrive tomorrow. No one wanted to cross the forest that day, and no one gave freely anymore. The villagers looked at her differently now, with unease, with suspicion, as if they knew she was feeding something they were too afraid to name. The sun was sinking fast. The forest gates would close soon. She couldn't go. She told herself she would try again in the morning, that it was too dangerous tonight, that the hunger could wait one more day. That night, for the first time in a long time, the girl didn't go to the forest. She stayed home. The fire burned low, shadows dancing against the walls. Her hands trembled as they rested on the handle of the basket, worn smooth by weeks of offerings. Oh no, she imagined him out there, cold, restless, maybe feeding on something else, but she didn't lift the basket. Instead, she waited. And when morning came, she took what food she could find and followed the winding path back through the trees. The forest, bathed in the pale gold of dawnlight, seemed quieter than usual. The wolf stood at the edge of the den's shadow, watching her, but he did not move toward the food she carried. He didn't look at it at all. He looked at her, and something in his gaze had changed. She set the food down, but he made no move to take it. I don't need it anymore. And though the girl still returned days later, weeks, the wolf never touched the food again. Oh no! He never looked hungry. He had been fed, and now he was full enough. Oh my god. A yawn leaves your lips. That's it? The wolf is finally okay? Caleb closes the book, the final page whispering shut. He doesn't look at you. Yes. You study him for a moment. There's something in the set of his jaws, the quiet in his throat, but you don't press, feeling sleep clouding your thoughts. I see. Outside, the storm has stopped. You feel your eyes slip closed, drifting into a kind of sleep that comes only after storms, safe, weightless. Across the room, Caleb remains still. He watches you for a moment longer than he should, eyes tracing the rise and fall of your breath, the soft curl of your fingers, where they rest beneath your cheek. Oh, this is giving his his main story memories, where MC fell sick and she slept and he watched her. Oh, it's giving the exact same thing. His hands drift to his stomach and he presses lightly. Oh. Then he turns, walks into the kitchen and takes an apple bowl. Takes an apple from the bowl near the sink. Oh, he's hungry? The skin snaps under his teeth, the juice running down his chin and fingers. And still, he eats. Oh my god! Oh my god, ending 1 out of 3! He is still hungry for MC. He so badly wants MC. Oh my god, the edging! Please! We're gonna try to get ending 2. And we're gonna fast forward it, okay? We're only gonna go through the options. I think it's fair, and I'll only read, I guess, what the new dialogue is with the new options. Okay, option 1. The girl went after her brother. Because he should have stayed with her. But he was dangerous. Doesn't matter, she'd accept him, even if no one else would. Caleb opens and closes his mouth like he wants to say something more. Then he goes quiet, his brow furrowing as he focuses again. Oh? The girl kept going. And Caleb goes back, well, WOLFLEB goes back to the den. And what does she do? The girl paused and thought carefully, then she made a choice to offer her touch to him. She stepped closer with careful steps and raised a hand to his face. His eyes fluttered shut as her fingers brushed his fur. He didn't flinch, just leaned into her touch like it grounded him. Then he lay down, cautious but calm, resting his head in her lap. She ran her fingers through his tangled hair, smoothing down the edges of his ears. His body relaxed, but something in him still held back. Oh? Poor thing, he probably hasn't been touched in years. Yep. Our touch-starved man. It's good that he's relaxing. There's a pause. Caleb turns a page. He still didn't let go though. He doesn't trust her? Maybe he knows once he lets go, he won't stop. Oh! And back to the forest we go. The sun rose and fell again and again, and the girl kept walking the path. Oh, and that day, as she turned to go, she left something behind. A ribbon of hers. She untied the ribbon from her hair and placed it gently on a nearby stone. Something small, something hers, so he could remember her. That's kind of sweet, actually. A ribbon, huh? It's just something nice. Or cruel. Mm? You look at him, one eyebrow raised. Cruel? Giving him something he can't forget when she still leaves every time. You go quiet. He doesn't elaborate. Oh, the tension! The wolf took what she left behind. He cradled it in his hands and held it close to his chest, where the beating of his heart was loudest. When the hunger rose like a tide, curling sharp and endless in his belly, he gripped it tighter. It soothed him, a little. Enough to breathe through the worst of it, enough to remember the girl's voice, her footsteps on the path, and the way her eyes softened when she looked at him like he was still his old self. Well, we're back to the village. That's right, we saw some eyes staring at us. And what do? This time, we saw them. Frown. The girl frowned. She could almost feel the wolf's unease. But she was already grown up. She could take care of herself. The eyes vanished into the shadows without a sound. She doesn't need him watching her all the time. You glance at Caleb. He doesn't say anything at first, just flips the page a little too slowly. Oh, the frown! He did not like that response. Maybe not, but maybe the wolf doesn't know how not to watch her. I can hear Caleb saying that. Later, the girl followed the path through the forest again, and I guess she goes back to the den. But what does she do? She stumbles across the wolf again. And I believe he gifts her something. And with this, she decides to make it into a necklace. She threaded it through a silver chain and wore it close to her chest so she could carry him with her. Oh, It's like the when you come back necklace all over again. It's kind of romantic in a creepy way. Caleb raises his brows, but he's smiling faintly. Creepy romantic is your favorite genre, and yours is doomed monster love, clearly. Touché. They're so goofy, I love it. They're so goofy. And one day the girl noticed something missing. A scarf, a soft linen blouse she hadn't worn in weeks. She thought maybe she misplaced them until another item vanished, something she worn just days before. And we're back at the den again. And this time we entered the den and see that there are our clothes in the chest. I could warm you up instead. Oh, Caleb's eyes. He's blushing. Caleb's eyes snap to you. The book shuts with a quiet thud. He clears his throat. Then opens it again like nothing happened. Wow. Okay. Bold choice. He liked that. He flips to the next page a little too fast. The wolf didn't move, but his gaze darkened. He shaked his head. You should leave. Why don't you trust me? The wolf's gaze lingered, heavy with words he would not give. He pressed his lips together, as if sealing the truth behind his sharp teeth, and at last turned his eyes away. Caleb stares at the page for a moment too long, like he's not really seeing it. Will he ever trust her completely? He fiddles with the bracelet around his wrist, doesn't look up. Maybe he doesn't even trust himself. Go. His voice held no growl this time, only wait. A final word shaped like a closing door. The girl hesitated, caught in the stillness between one breath and the next. Then she turned, and the forest, quiet and watchful, swallowed her footsteps like a secret. Oh? Caleb looks at you, the book resting open in his hands. His gaze is steady, waiting. The story is nearly over. The choices have been made, and now all that's left is the ending. You don't look away when you speak. The girl walked to the forest anyway. I knew it! She stepped into the den with no food, just her throat, her wrist, her skin. That's wild to name those specific body parts, by the way. MC! Caleb's breath catches. He's blushing again. Just slightly. His fingers curl against the pages. The wolf warned her, be careful. I'm not your brother anymore. The space between you has changed, subtle but charged. He isn't reading anymore. He's remembering or inventing or both. You tilt your head just enough to let the words settle between you. She whispered, you never were you? The book slips from his lap. He doesn't reach for it. The wolf said he would bite. He said he would ruin her. He leans closer. You can feel his warmth, the brush of his breath across your cheek, the press of the silence between you, thick as velvet. She said, please do. Ah! Get it! We're back in the den. She stepped into the den like it was a place she wasn't meant to enter. Not because it frightened her, but because it didn't. Because it called to something inside her that had waited just as long as he had. Outside, the solstice wind curled through the trees, heavy with frost, thick with change. The forest was quiet in that way that only came once a year, when the earth turned and the world held still, waiting for something to begin. The wolf watched her from the firelight. He didn't move. Not when she untied her cloak. Not when she let her dress fall from her shoulders and pull around her feet. Not even when she stepped closer, naked but unafraid, her eyes locked to his. But his breath hitched. His jaw clenched like he was holding something back, a howl maybe, or her name. His voice was gravel when he finally spoke. Pipsqueak. Are you sure? I would rather be ruined than untouched.
that was all it took. He crossed the space between them in a heartbeat, years of restraint breaking like a dam. His hands were rough when they found her waist, her spine, her throat, not violent but starved, touch-starved. Later, she dressed in silence. They did some boom shaka bangaranging, la la la, clank clank clank. Yes! Later, she dressed in silence. Not with shame, not with regret, but with the calm of someone who had made a vow without needing words. Oh! She left the forest at dawn, as she always did. The forest let her go, not because it had to, but because it knew she would return. And she did every time. And the wolf learned how to wait without starving. Caleb! Ending 2 and 3, let's go. Alrighty, let's do the third ending. I love the consent. Holy shit, that was great. That was touch-starving delicious. I'm excited for the third one. So, for the third one, it's going to be the same thing, same drill. We're going to skip through all the answers. That will lead us to the final ending. And we're going to read the ending together. So it's the first ending and the second ending combined. But there's a very slight difference in choices. I think it's just like one or two differences. So this is the ending that really does kind of change it all to make it the final and third ending. What if I don't want to leave the den at all? Caleb looks up slowly. His expression shifts. Something flickers behind his eyes. You hold his gaze. He clears his throat quietly. Dangerous thing to say to a wolf. She means it. Yeah, that's the dangerous part. Oh! The confidence. Oh, the wolf says go. His voice held no growl this time, only wait. A final word shaped like a closing door. The girl hesitated, caught in the stillness between one breath and the next. Then she turned, and the forest, quiet and watchful, swallowed her footsteps like a secret. Caleb looks at you, the book resting open in his hands. His gaze is steady, waiting. The story is nearly over. The choices have been made, and now all that's left is the ending. You don't look away when you speak. The girl walked to the forest anyway. She stepped into the den with no food, just her throat, her wrist, her skin. Caleb's breath catches, just slightly. His fingers curl against the pages. The wolf warned her, be careful. I'm not your brother anymore. The space between you has changed, subtle but charged. He isn't reading anymore. He's remembering, or inventing, or both. Just imagine Caleb just working out the numbers like how he does when he's like building models. You tilt your head just enough to let the words settle between you. She whispered, you never were you? The book slips from his lap. He doesn't reach for it. The wolf said he would bite. He said he would ruin her. He leans in closer. You can feel his warmth, the brush of his breath across your cheek, the press of the silence between you, thick as velvet. You said, please do. Stop. She stepped into the den like it was a church, and she, the only offering that would ever be enough. She stepped into the den like it was a church. Bestie is offering her sins. I love this. Outside, the forest was still, frozen beneath the solstice moon, breathless beneath its own watching weight. Oh, it is a full moon, all right. The trees bowed low, heavy with snow and silence, as if even they knew what this night meant, as if they too were waiting for something sacred to be broken. The wolf did not speak. He watched her from the shadows, the firelight painting gold across his skin, across the wild in his eyes. His hands trembled where they rested at his sides, not from fear, but from holding back something too large for words. He asked her once, voice low and torn from somewhere deeper than his throat. Are you sure? Let me be the only thing that ever touches your hunger. Yes! Get it, MC! Get it, queen! So he took her. Some say the wolf keeps her in a den lined with her dresses, that he braids her hair and sings her lullabies. Stop! Wait, that's actually so sweet. Some say she feeds him still, with kisses now, with moans, with sighs. Ah! But most say she knew what he was and loved him anyway. That was the last ending. I love that. That was a safer for work options. I love them all. And I must say, I do have more thoughts because I have played the NSFW versions on the Discord with the community. And I'll give you a preview of basically what it was. Stop! The furs beneath her were warm, tangled, scented with his skin. He hovered above her for a moment, shaking not from fear, but from reverence sharpened by need. And when he finally kissed her, it was with no patience, no pretense, just hunger and need. His mouth found her neck, her collarbone, the curve of her breast. He bit, but didn't break skin. He sucked until he left a mark. She arched beneath him, a gasp caught in her throat, fingers already buried in his hair. Oh! When he spilled inside her, it was not to fill her, but to leave a part of himself behind. Oh, he is still possessive. Holy! He is flustered. The hunger you stirred, you were always meant to feed it. Oh my! And the forest never let her leave again, but she never tried to. So yeah, however, the end. Oh my god, we did all 3 out of 3 options for the Save for Work, and I do have further thoughts. I do, because I have played the NSFW version on the Discord with the community. And it was brilliant, I have to say. And I do believe that the NSFW version definitely provides more context and just everything. More than the Safer Work version for sure. So I do have thoughts, and I do want to say I loved it. I love the detailing, I love the narrating, I love that it's just Caleb being Caleb. Caleb telling a story to MC to express and choose like how the story will go based on what she chooses, and he kind of bounces off and uses her as a soundboard to express his feelings for her. I think that is just so Caleb. I love that so much. They've done a great job, and it's giving like secret times and some snippets of the cards. I truly loved it. Amazing. What I will have to say is, for the first ending, I think that was a great representation of how, like, you know, Caleb wants to close that brother chapter of, like, you know, kind of acting like that brother for MC because they grew up together as childhood friends, and he was still super starved. Like, he was hungry, he wanted more, and she wasn't ready yet, basically. The second ending was great because she was kind of ready, but he was kind of like standoffish because it wasn't all the answers he wanted, and he wants to take it slowly. So he still, you know, with consent, you know, gave in, let MC just really be kind of worshipped in that sense. And they really just went, like, they went for it in a really loving sort of way. And for the final ending, it just went pound town, basically. Full force. And they were so touch-starved. I loved it. Touch-starved, absolutely great. In love, obsessed, completely obsessed. Just think like Colonel Caleb, just clenching that necklace to his chest. Just picture it, besties, picture it. Stay with me here. So that's how I felt. I loved it. This is my first game with this creator. I think it's Khywae. I'm so sorry if I did butcher your name, but shout out to Khywae. I'll be sure to link the game below as well in the description, and all of my ending options, so you know exactly what to go through and don't have to go through the hassle of it all. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you guys did too. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it, and hopefully there'll be more. Let me know what other type of, I guess, visual novels you'd like me to play. This was super fun. It's nice, short and sweet, and full of surprises. So yeah, thank you for watching. Pray for the preview. So glad. That's only 5 seconds. I'm so glad. That was only